Monster Hunter Wilds was announced during the 2023 Game Awards, and since then there's been new information about the game that's released through videos and the official website. If you're a veteran to the series like myself, you may have been keeping up with the updates as they're announced, but if not, I wanted to take a brief moment to highlight some of the awesome new features they've revealed so far in the upcoming game. For starters, our new mount is called the Secret, a bird-like raptor that is replacing our previous Palamute mounts. As you can imagine, the mount can be summoned on the go and provides a built-in tracking feature to help you locate your target monster. A new feature that this mount brings to the table is the weapon sling it carries. This sling allows you to bring one additional weapon with you on hunts, granting you the ability to quickly swap weapons while you're out exploring. This is huge because previously, if you wanted to switch your weapons, you'd have to fast travel back to the nearest base to pop into your hunter's tents and access your equipment box. With the mobile weapon sling, we'll now be able to swap weapons a lot easier. One thing I'm curious about is the armor loadouts. Not all weapons will benefit from one armor build, so we might have to consider what type of weapon we bring as a backup. A quick example I'd like to see is using a hammer as your main weapon, but swapping to a hunting horn as a secondary weapon. Would you then be able to pop some of the hunting horn buffs and switch back to the hammer while those buffs are active? Or would the buffs disappear if you swap weapons? These are some of the things I'm excited to test out, especially since armor builds are impacted by weapons you use. Not to go too far down the rabbit hole, but more specifically for your armor builds, maybe you build to where you want to increase your stun damage. With a hammer, that's great, but you wouldn't want to bring dual blades as a secondary weapon because they're not really meant for stunning. Next up is the Slinger, a standard piece of gear that every hunter will be equipped with. We've had variations to this mechanic in the past, but as it stands, the Slinger can be used to fire various ammo types gathered in the environments, such as flash bombs, which temporarily blind most monsters. The Slinger also allows you to hookshot items from a distance, as well as interact with the environment to inflict large amounts of damage. Lastly, the Slinger can also be used while you're mounted. It's going to make gathering items a lot easier than it's been in the past. Another new mechanic revealed for Monster Hunter Wilds is Focus Mode, which is used to carefully aim your attacks or guards. You'll notice in this example the hunter starts to swing the greatsword, but then pivots the direction they're facing before releasing the swing. This is great because in the past you basically had to commit to a swing like this, not having any control on changing the direction you swing. It's important to note that attacks or guards you perform in Focus Mode will be directed where the camera is facing. Attacking the same part of a monster continuously may create wounds on that body part, which are then highlighted whenever you use Focus Mode. Attacking wounds will deal more damage than normal. In this example, it shows 68 damage versus 55 damage, which is a 12% increase. Early game, that might not be as big of a deal, but late game, when we're dealing large amounts of damage, 12% increase is going to be huge. Lastly, Focus Strikes are special attacks that are unique to your weapon, dealing even more damage to wounds and weak points. The final updates to highlight today are specific to a couple of individual weapons. As of now, there is one video per weapon type out, which will give you a breakdown of how each weapon operates. After watching all of them, I've noticed there's two new mechanics introduced between the bow and the hunting horn. The bow now has a tracer mechanic. When you hit a monster with the tracer, all of your following arrow shots will become homing attacks. After enough damage is done, or enough time has passed, the tracer will explode, causing more damage on the monster. The hunting horn now boasts a new feature called Echo Bubbles, which can be placed to grant special effects in an area. The hunting horn has always been known for granting buffs, but having AoE bubbles to place on the ground is a new layer to the weapon. You'll notice here that when the monster is standing in multiple bubbles, it takes stack damage per attack. They haven't gone into detail on what types of echo bubbles we might eventually have, but it'd be cool to see some healing bubbles that your fellow hunters could stand in during fights. Aside from the bow and the hunting horn, there may have been other new features revealed in the weapon videos that I missed, so let me know if you noticed specific updates for any other weapons. I know we still don't have an official release date yet, but I'm incredibly stoked for this new Monster Hunter title. As with any new game in the series, I'm excited to see what new monsters are introduced, which returning monsters we'll encounter, and any other new features they'll be adding. Thank you for checking out this video. Let me know what you think about these updates and which ones you're most excited for.